Hello darlings, how the devil are we? One of the things about being an adult is that while it's always fun and fantastic to play adult-based games, it's not always easy to find games for the kids. And even saying that, sometimes people just want to sit back and play a game that just captures the magic of innocence, and I gotta say, I think I found one. So the title is called Catizens. The best way to describe it is if you were to take Rimworld, which is a fantastic game by its own right, and The Sims, and mix them together, you'd end up with Catizens. And the premise is fairly simple. You're set as some sort of godlike entity in charge of managing and handling the daily life of your cat-like world. And just like in Rimworld, and even The Sims, the whole part of the magic is that each one of these furry moggies comes with its own set of personality and quirky traits. The studio that made it are called Bad Optic Games. They're a small indie dev studio. They've got 3 people, and I gotta say, for that minimum amount of people, they've done a fairly good job. Currently, only the demo is available. It's set to be released in 2021, but it's well worth a pickup, and you can play a couple of missions if you want to give it a go. But for those who don't, I'll give you some details, and maybe it'll convince you to either do or don't when it comes to picking it up. When you first launch into the game, you're given a choice between 2 cats. You got one who is a knight in shining cat armor, and the other one who's a little bit more on the arty creative side. And when you get into the game, you'll soon see why. It gives you a short tutorial on what to do, and this includes a few tasks, including slaying a couple of boars and building your first few buildings. Including that, it also teaches you about resource management and just basically the general structure of the game. What sticks out immediately though, like a sore thumb, is that this game is not for those who are looking for something fast paced. The cats move around like they're stuck in molasses. But that's okay, because I feel like this game is aimed to be played at a nice chill speed. However, if that isn't for you, there are fast forward buttons which will take you a little bit faster, but as I say, going by the general pace of the music and the feel of the game, this is meant to be played in no hurry. For those who don't like too much sandbox and like a little bit of structure to work towards, then this game might suit you as well. There's a small campaign that sets you off doing various tasks. I only played the first level, but it was fairly basic stuff. Build X buildings, clear out the enemies, and reach a certain star level on your village. And if you've played a game like 2 Point Hospital, then you'll feel right at home because it follows a similar sort of system. In terms of looking after your cats, as already mentioned, you have to do things like fight off the local boars, but also look after all the needs that come with looking after a cat. And this includes setting up your cat village, building a marketplace so you can trade for more food and bits and pieces that you need, and also setting up a bathhouse so the cats don't get too messy and end up in a bad mood. And speaking of personality, this is part of the magic of the game. As previously mentioned, each cat comes with its own set of personalities, which allows you to watch all the fun and antics that comes with them interacting and overlapping with each other's different traits. Again, likening it very similarly to The Sims. On my first couple of runs, I ended up with a few insomniac cats who enjoyed working at night and sleeping all through the day, but I promise you, if you like behavioural variety, then you've got boatloads to get through. And they include some real variety, including things such as the bush cat, a catnip lover, and a destructive cat which requires a scratching post so it doesn't destroy everything in its path. In total, there are over 30 traits that your cat can have, and each cat can have up to 3 different traits. So as you can imagine, there's quite the variety, and you can end up with quite the pick-and-mix situation. In terms of look and feel of the game, they've gone for a really simple aesthetic. A lot of the shading is two-tone, but it adds for a nice colourful little presentation, and as previously mentioned, it's a real kind of simple childhood aesthetic they're going for. The music also isn't all that bad. It can get a little bit repetitive at the time, but overall it suits the mood and general flow of the game. Overall, I had fun playing the game. It was a great little palate cleanser from the usual type of games that I play. Overall, I had pretty good fun playing it. I will say though that looking at the game, I would assume that it's in late alpha, early beta. I ran into a few issues with the camera. I found the panning and turning to be a little bit too slow at times. I also found it zooming in weird moments, and also cats getting caught behind buildings so I couldn't quite see them properly. There's also a few quality of life things that I think would make the game a little bit better. Currently, unlike Rimworld and games in the similar sort of vein, there's no way to prioritize tasks over another. I guess you could argue they're like true cats and just doing what they want to do anyway. Additionally, in terms of movements and from a strategy point of view, there was no way to queue up pathing, so you could only select one task and you couldn't make it then do another. And at given points, it was also noted that there was a limited animation pack, as often when cats were building and doing various things, they were repeating the same cycle of movement in a very relative short period of time and gave a kind of sort of weird effect to it. Currently, I'd highly recommend checking out the demo since it's free. There is no price at the moment, but I would imagine that this will sit between the £15 and £20 mark. The dev team have been really good about feedback, they've been updating regularly, and they also have a pretty good thorough system for reporting bugs if you find any. These are all the sort of things I look for when I'm looking at potentially early access games, because we all have been stung once or twice with games that just have no updates and then are left to kind of vapor away. So overall at the moment, this gets my thumbs up. You make the decision though, I'll just give you the tools to do it. And yeah, let me know what you think when you give it a go. But for now, have a great week. I'll be back with more news and reviews soon, and I'll see you in a bit.